Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Nolene Ebel Ame. We begin the broadcast by informing you that President Bola Tinubu has arrived Kaduna on a day visit. The president, while in Kaduna, attended the wedding ceremony between Nasiruddin Yari and Safiya Shehu Idris. Nasiruddin is the son of the senator representing Zamfara West, Abdulaziz Yari. Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, stated that President Tinubu will also pay a courtesy visit on Aisha, the widow of the late former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, at the family residence in Kaduna. From Kaduna, we take you to Rivers State, where the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, arrived airport, where the crowd of supporters finally received him. From the airport, the governor proceeded to the government house to resume official duty after the 6 months where he addressed the public.
I want to appreciate everyone and to say that we love you, but God loves you more. We are going to address the states officially by 6 p.m. this evening, and in that state broadcast, every other person, every personality, every authority that gives support to this normalcy will be properly recognized. Thank you.
Still staying in Port Harcourt, we now join Robinson Derataide for an update of the governor's arrival at Port Harcourt and the activity thereafter. Hello, Robinson. Can you tell us the situation at the moment from the airport to the government house? What else?
Situation has continued to be an atmosphere of joy all over Rivers State. Since the day before yesterday, when the presidency announced the end of emergency rule in Rivers State, Rivers people have been very happy and eagerly anticipating for the arrival of the governor. Yesterday, we all knew he couldn't make it, but today, as early as 5 to 6 a.m., a lot of people were at the airport eagerly waiting for his arrival. And a few minutes after 12, he arrived. And of course, his arrival signaled an atmosphere of joy where people, were very happy and excited that the governor they elected had returned back to government house. Unfortunately, the crowd was too much at the airport that the governor could not even, exchange pleasantry very well, but he rushed down to the government house where he granted interview, and he reassured Rivers people that his commitment to delivering the goodness of democracy will continue now that he has returned. Of course, in the last 6 months has been a period of suspension in governance, particularly in the area of projects. And people believe that now that the governor has returned, the projects will now commence again. The governor moved immediately after granting that interview from the government house to his private residence. We are close to his private residence here in GRA, Port Harcourt, just a few distance from me here. That is where the governor's residence is, and that is why you see cars parked here. People are still there with him, celebrating with him, and hoping that the peace that has returned to Rivers State will be sustained.
Thank you so much for the update, Robinson Derataide. It has been a long day for you.
Long day for me. Thank you.
All right. In other news, the 2030 Commonwealth Games Beat Evaluation Committee has raised the hopes of Nigeria winning the bidding war for the Centenary Games. This follows the ongoing inspection of facilities and infrastructures at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Austin Edemudu is monitoring the event for NTA.
Nigeria made an attempt to host the Commonwealth Games was in 2007. 18 years later, Nigeria is back again with another bid to host the 2030 edition. These are the critical stakeholders, including the leadership of the National Sports Commission, the 2030 Commonwealth Games Bid Evaluation Committee, and the visiting members of the Commonwealth Inspection Team.
Nigeria is really committed and is able, more than able, and have the capabilities and the possibilities to host what I will term the best games ever in the Commonwealth.
To see all the wonderful venues and just to see all the passion and all the people that have pulled together such an exciting proposition for Commonwealth sport and for Nigeria for the future.
And in hosting the games will create an avenue for 850 million young Africans by 2050 to be well positioned to do what they know how to do best.
This is the prototype of the proposed Games Village at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Package A will host athletics, track and field events. Here is the International Broadcast Center being managed by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, as broadcast partners for the proposed 2030 Commonwealth Games in Abuja here in Nigeria. Of course, facilities and equipment here have been upgraded to that effect. The management of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, led by the DG's representative, the Executive Director of News, Ayo Ademui, conducted the team around the International Broadcast Center. The inspection team also visited some training facilities as they continue with the assignment till Friday. In Abuja, Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
In other news, the National Assembly Joint Committee on Appropriations has reached an agreement with the National Economic Team towards immediate commencement of implementation of the capital component of the 2025 budget. At a meeting Thursday, which resolved into closed door, both sides also affirmed earlier commitment with regards to withdrawal of circular issued by the federal government on the award of contracts. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Between the Senate and House of Representatives Joint Committee on Appropriations and the National Economic Team is convened to look at pending issues like the implementation of the capital component of the 2024 budget, which is ongoing, as well as the state of the implementation of the 2025 budget, with particular reference to the capital components. The meeting adopted agreements reached at an earlier interaction between the economic team and the House of Representatives on the award of contracts for projects approved in the 2025 budget, which had been put on hold.
There are resolutions that have been reached with the executive, which include, number one, issuance of the authority to incur expenditure for 30% funding of the 2025 budgets. That's one. Number two, that the existing budget of 2024, we have to go all the way to December of 2025.
The 2025 budget implementation will commence as soon as possible, and AIE will be issued within 7 days after our discussions.
Elsewhere, the Senate Committee on Health, as well as that of FCT area councils, met with executives of the Association of Resident Doctors and appealed that the striking FCT resident doctors should resume work. The lawmakers promised to meet with the FCT minister for a quick resolution of the impasse.
I'm giving you my own commitment now. I want to plead with you now, before my distinguished colleagues. All of this right, give us the opportunity to discuss.
Very soon, we'll get back to Nigerians on our position.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Mining and quarrying companies licensed by the Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office last year are expected to conclude the Community Development Agreement CDAs with host communities on or before December 31 this year, or their licenses will be revoked. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, issued the deadline following the review of the performance of companies on the community development agreements in the first 6 months. Out of 74 new mineral titles issued in the first 6 months, only 24 community development agreements were signed. The minister advised communities to set up quality teams during negotiations and secure legacy projects and programs to benefit their communities. And talking security now, the Nigerian Air Force, through the air component of Operation Delta Safe at the 115th Special Operations Group, Port Harcourt, has reinforced its role in protecting Nigeria's energy infrastructure and reducing economic losses from oil theft and illegal refining. This renewed push follows the directive of the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, for air components to set up operational tempo across all theaters during a periodic brief by the Commander, Air Component Operation Delta Safe, Group Captain Abdulaziz Opale. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ihimen Ejodame, indicates that across multiple Niger Delta states, daily helicopter sorties have denied saboteurs access to pipelines, illegal refineries, and logistics hub, actions that, according to industry data, are contributing to a measurable rebound in national oil output. The NAV's presence above the mangrove, riverine, and coastal terrain is now a critical defense of Nigeria's economic lifeline, as between May and August 2025, the group's surveillance and attack platforms conducted sustained intelligence surveillance and armed reconnaissance and pipeline patrol missions over Ondo, Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River states, uncovering and destroying dozens of illegal refining facilities, neutralized camps supporting militants, destroyed cooking tanks and reservoirs, as well as exposed illicit oil theft networks. In the meantime, the Minister of Interior says the days of long waits and passport backlogs are numbered. He gave the assurance while inspecting the Data Personalization Center at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja. Victor Azu reports.
At the core of passport production is the Data Personalization Center, where biometric data is processed and security features are stamped in. For Minister Olubomi Tunjioju, seeing the process up close was necessary to make sure reforms deliver real results.
We now have a system here that will bring an end forever to the era of backlog, because production can be done at record time.
The minister says the new center will cut delays and restore public confidence in Nigeria's passport system. He insists technology and oversight must go together to deliver faster, smarter service to Nigerians at home and abroad.
We're doing about 250, 300 per machine per day. Today, the system that you've seen does about 1,000 per hour. Within 4 or 5 hours of working, NIS can provide solutions to the demand of Nigerians.
With reforms picking up pace, the old bottlenecks of passport application may soon give way to efficiency, transparency, and trust. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The federal government has taken a step further to ensure seamless implementation of National Energy Master Plan for improved electricity supply and energy security with the inauguration of the committee to drive the reform. Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, Dr. Mustafa Abdullahi, emphasizes that the National Energy Master Plan serves as a comprehensive blueprint to ensure energy security, expand access to reliable electricity, promote renewable energy, and reduce Nigeria's carbon footprint in line with global climate goals. Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Uche Naji, reaffirms federal government's commitment to modernizing the energy sector, strengthening public-private partnerships, and promoting indigenous innovation in energy technologies. Development partners and other stakeholders commit to building strong institutional frameworks, mobilizing investments, and strengthening technical capacities to drive the master plan's successful implementation. While Imo residents were still applauding the state's government for the banning of graduation for pupils and students of nursery and junior secondary school, the government again introduced other policies prohibiting the submission of certain required items to schools for enrollment of a child and time for dismissal of both public and private schools across the state.
Back of resumption of schools for the 2025-2026 academic session in Imo State, the government introduced policies prohibiting the collection of certain items during the enrollment of pupils and students into schools, such as shovels, hose, cutlasses, and other numerous items, as well as unauthorized fees and charges. The government also introduced 3 p.m. as dismissal time for all schools in the state.
Yes, I'm very grateful for this new policy. We are suffering too much. After paying school fees, during the exam, we pay for exam fee.
We had our last meeting, we discussed on what we call internal regulations. And as an association, we've been able to disseminate such information to our members.
There must be a task force that will go around the schools and ensure that the government policies are adhered to.
Children go to toilets. There is need for high level of hygiene because this is a school. If there is a breakout of disease here now, it is an epidemic, it's problematic. So you have to provide toilet tissues.
Investigation on the level of compliance to these new policies by public and private schools shows that while some schools have started complying, others are yet to adhere to the directives.
Previously, they did demand for something like broom, tissue, soap, but recently, I don't know, maybe it's because of the state governor's directive.
I still have this feeling that some schools will have a way of building it in.
Imo State Commissioner for Education, Primary and Secondary, Professor Bernard Ikewonha says the policies are aimed at curbing exploitation by private school owners and public school headmistresses and principals. He discloses that he has warned the schools against flouting the order, as that will attract sanctions.
I've gone as far as getting a hotline, a telephone number, with which if you see something, you say something. We want to give the people hope, and we want to make sure that parents must breathe.
It is the expectation of parents that the policies will be strictly implemented.
In a similar news, Loretta Arinze Ugwem monitored the level of compliance by both public and private schools in the state. Brings us details as presented from our studio. Presentation by Loretta Egwem is not ready for us to take at this point. Let's head to Lagos, where Adiola Komi-Akere is waiting to deliver on Nationwide. Hello, Adiola.
Arlene, for joining us in Lagos. Following the casualties and loss of property recorded in the inferno that engulfed Afriland Towers on Broad Street, Lagos Island, business owners in the area want the Lagos state government to carry out an audit of building under construction and those already occupied to ascertain availability of emergency exits. Joel Bokbola reports that business activities are yet to pick up on Broad Street.
Fire incidents are not new in Lagos Island and environ, but the inferno that engulfed the Afriland building is one that will linger on in the memories of those who witnessed it for a long time. The only exit in the building could not be accessed when smoke started from the basement, causing panic.
They can open the glass. Immediately make that thing happen. This thing will work. But the glass is different. So sometimes when they fall like this, they look no serious before. So all this building now, we get glass. Before step plate just also produce step for our side.
Statistics shows that in the first half of 2024, Lagos State recorded 1,085 cases of fire outbreaks, with Lagos Island accounting for 35. In the same year, property worth 19 billion naira were lost to fire incidents. Just when the victims of the Afriland fire were still grieving, another fire incident razed a plaza behind the popular Mandela's building, which is still in limbo after the infamous fire incident of year 2024.
We've been singing it to their hearing that they should not, whenever they are going home, they should switch off their shop appliances and the rest. But to us, it seems yet they are still saying, and it's not something advisable for us to learn in this very manner.
The area is always a beehive, and many business owners are in the habit of storing inflammable materials in their shops. For now, the traders are counting their losses even as the Lagos State Building Control Agency continues to evacuate the debris. In Lagos, Joel Pukbola, NTA News.
The Lagos State Police Command has arrested Samsudeen Oladiti alias Shamilon in connection with a murder and an assault on Lagos Island. He is currently in custody at the State Criminal Investigation Department, Panti Yaba. The 55-year-old Oladiti, who is one of the leaders of a National Union of Road Transport Workers, Lagos Island.
Thank you for staying with us on Nationwide. We shall now be taking you to our Sokoto studio, where Sadia Umar Digi is waiting to present more news for us from that axis. Hello, Sadia.
Thanks for joining us. The death toll from cholera outbreak in Sokoto State has risen to 85 from January to date. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa reports that Sabon Birni is the epicenter of the outbreak, which has so far spread to 14 out of 23 local government areas of the state. The report.
So far, 1,920 cases have been recorded since the outbreak in January this year, while 1,786 persons were discharged. 134 are still receiving treatment in various health facilities across Sokoto State. As part of its emergency response, the state government has procured drugs, medical supplies to contain the outbreak, with additional support from UNICEF and other international partners.
The case of someone you have rightly mentioned is no issue related to Trans-Border. But remember, Sabon share boundary with Zamfara, Isa and Sabon, and that's why we have the high number. Being Zamfara is the epicenter of this cholera, and they have the high number and share a boundary. So, and they have a lot of flooding. Surfaces water are moving, and most of the villages, they don't use the borehole available to them, but they see it's easy accessible to fetch their water from their surface.
Most of the deaths recorded were community-based in the 14 affected local government areas. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
The Orientation Agency has launched a nationwide enlightenment campaign aimed at educating citizens on government policies, programs and activities. The campaign was flagged off by agency's National Director of Media and Communication, Malam Bala Musa, in Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi State capital. Usman Abdullahi Shehu has more.
The event emphasized the need to install a strong sense of national identity among citizens while educating participants on practical measures to reduce the impact of recurring floods in Nigeria. These include community-based initiatives and effective emergency preparedness strategies. Stakeholders, including Emergency Management Agency, shared their expertise on disaster response and relief coordination. NOAA Director in Kebbi State, Muhammad Nasiru Karofi, called on citizens to prioritize these critical issues and work collectively towards building a resilient and prosperous society.
Addressing security concerns have been doing their best. The community also have been doing their best. But to get to the bottom of this problem, we need a kind of engagement that will let us understand the problem itself.
Participants also contributed to the relief effort in disaster-affected communities, highlighting the values of collaboration between government agencies and stakeholders.
I think what I want to say, our greatest challenge in security situation is activities of informants. Informants. Somebody said that if we can protect activities of informants.
Flooding is one of the common natural disasters. When the National Meteorological Agency brought out a list of flood-prone states, Kebbi State was on that list.
Through this initiative, the NOAA hope to empower citizens with the knowledge and tools needed to drive positive change in their communities and across the country. I'm Brendan Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
At the news update from here, Nolene, it's back to you.
Well, Sadia, thank you. President Bola Tinubu congratulates Mrs. Olubunmi Kuku, the Managing Director of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, on her election as the Vice President of the Airports Council International, ACI Africa. ACI is the global trade representative of the world's airports. It develops standards, policies, and best practices for airports. The President notes the sustained efforts and commitment of the FAN management to making air transport in Nigeria safe, efficient, and reflective of the highest standards, which has attracted global recognition and commendations. President Tinubu acknowledges the Managing Director's leadership and foresight, which earned her a position as Regional Advisor for Africa before she became a permanent member of the ACI World Governing Board. I told you earlier that Loretta Arinze Igwem monitored the level of compliance by both public and private schools in Imo State, and here is her report.
Well, before now in Imo State, the issue of schools demanding for such items like tissue, hose, shovel, even some charges before a student is being admitted into school or allowed to sit for a particular exam has been a source of worry to parents. In the course of carrying this report, we find out that some schools in Imo State have started complying to the directive, while others are yet to comply. On the issue of 3 p.m. stipulated time for closing of schools, government schools in Imo State started complying to these directives last time, but now it has been extended to private schools. We were able to find out from the Commissioner for Education in Imo State has had a series of meetings with representatives of private school owners in Imo State, where he warned them on the need for them to comply to the directives, as any school that failed to comply to it will be sanctioned. We are also opportune to speak with some private school administrators who now told us that they are doing their best to ensure that their members comply to the directives in Imo State.
Thank you very much, Loretta. And still speaking on education, this time around in Gombe, stakeholders in the education sector in Gombe State are joining forces to tackle out-of-school children crisis, pledging to enroll over 400,000 students in the 2025 academic year. Emmanuel Akila reports that the commitment came during a one-day stakeholders engagement meeting focused on a new enrollment drive campaign.
In years, Gombe State government intensifies efforts to reduce the number of out-of-school children, but the goal is not yet reached. Therefore, this stakeholders engagement is aimed at coming up with practical strategies towards addressing the problem.
We have identified vocational skills for the out-of-school and almajiris, and we have introduced programs like 6 months or 9 months intensive coaching, and then writing SSCE or WAEC or NBIS by these out-of-school children, because some of them are so aged that you cannot bring a 17-year-old and say start from primary 1.
This year's enrollment drive campaign program is pragmatic and designed to develop a behavioral change communication of material for back to school and drive strategic activities.
There is no development without education, and everybody must be educated. It's not a privilege, it's a right.
I've been encouraging women especially to allow their girl child to go to school, and even the fathers to put in a word for the child, especially the girl child, so that she will be educated to have a better family.
The stakeholders conclude that it is not enough to raise the bar in enrollment, but retaining the children in school is key to changing the narrative. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila.
Backlog of local government salaries, pensions and arrears, benefits totaling about 5 billion naira, paid off by Bayelsa State government in collaboration with council administrations in the state. Presenting payment checks to some of the retirees at an event organized in Yenagua, Governor Doediri reiterated his administration's commitment to prioritizing workers and pensioner welfare. Timi Priye O'Hare reports.
The 5 billion naira disbursement is the final installment of funds released by the Governor Doediri administration to settle a 12 billion naira backlog of pension arrears owed to local government pensioners in Bayelsa State. The event to hand out checks to retirees at the banquet hall in Yenagua is attended by representatives of various labor bodies, including the president of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees. Dewey highlighted the challenges of pensioners, which, according to him, prompted his administration to carry reforms in the local government system.
And you all know this. From the beginning of my tenure up until today, I've been speaking about true federalism. We cannot afford to have a Bayelsa that produces the oil and gas for Nigeria with only 8 local government areas, whilst others will have 40 and 44 local government areas. It is injustice. And so we need a national dialogue where we can examine most of these things. And local government creation should be the functions of state governments with the ability to fund the local government that they can create.
In separate speeches, guests appreciated Governor Doediri for his support, the council administrations and pensioners, as they urge other state government to emulate the gesture.
We gather here to celebrate and honor exceptional leadership of Your Excellency and Your Dignity, who have demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the welfare and development of Bayelsa State. The Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, NORGE, is proud to recognize your outstanding achievements, which have transformed the local government system Bayelsa State.
Other major highlights of the event include the conferment of an award by the Norgay National Leadership on Diri as the best performing governor on local government reforms and welfare in Nigeria. In Yenagua, Siminepri, O'Hare, NTA News.
Elsewhere, training and recertification of fuel tanker drivers are practical ways to curtail crashes on the roads. This was the focus on engagement between the Committee on Driver Retraining and Road Safety and the Ministry of Transportation in Abuja. Correspondent Ladibala reports.
Accidents involving fuel tankers and articulated vehicles are becoming frequent on Nigerian roads, resulting in loss of lives and property. The social-economic impact of these incidents is devastating. To address this challenge, the National Assembly directed the training and recertification of fuel tanker and articulated vehicle drivers nationwide. Subsequently, a committee was constituted by the Ministry of Transportation. 6 months after the directive and concern over the increase in crashes, the committee is now on a fact-finding mission to investigate the delayed implementation and calling for urgent action.
It is not enough to have bus terminals, to have effective transportation, but we also need to complement it with safe drivers on the road.
That you need large funds to carry out this training. And you know, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a very prudent government. That was not envisaged in the budget of the ministry. Be that as it may, the Honourable Minister is looking for other ways around it to ensure that the training take place.
The Minister of Transportation, represented by the Director overseeing the Office of the Permanent Secretary, attributes the delay to lack of budgetary allocations. However, the ministry reiterates its commitment to making transport safe for Nigerians. The committee notes that over 80% of fuel tanker and articulated vehicle drivers are not certified. In Abuja, Ladibala, NTA News.
From Abuja, we take you to Jigawa, where the Kano Jigawa Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted vandalized power cables valued at millions of naira. 4 suspects were arrested and handed over to the Civil Defense Corps for further investigation. Fatima Sanusi Karai reports.
Custom officers on routine patrol along the Kano Jigawa Road intercepted vandalized power cables worth 5 million naira, concealed for transport.
In line with Section 4F and Section 55C of the Nigerian Customs Service Act 2023, I hereby hand over 13 bundles of vandalized aluminum conductor electrical cables of 15 millimeter to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Jigawa State Command.
The 4 suspects were handed over to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps for further investigation.
I will assure you, all that is required for us to do through investigation mechanisms. We must do it professionally to ensure that those involved are called to order.
Now in custody, the suspects are expected to face charges of vandalism and destruction of public infrastructure. Authorities say the case highlights the ongoing fight against power and infrastructure vandalism in the region.
Fatima Sanusi Karai's report there. Jos Network Center is next on our lineup on Nationwide today. Let's now join Bilkisu Nuhu for more reports. Hello, Bilkisu. Nuhu for more reports.
To Jos. National Chairman of APC, Professor Nantawe Yilwada, says he will continue to render humanitarian services to the people, particularly the less privileged. He stated this in Jos while speaking on the flag-off of free medical services to the people of the state. Ijoma Zomina has details.
The medical outreach, which commenced in Shendam, is featuring a team of highly skilled local and foreign medical officers who specialize in surgery, gynecology, orthopedics, pediatrics, ophthalmology, and dentistry. At the moment, medical officers are attending to primary cases in the southern senatorial district of the state.
We're doing surgery, we're giving glasses, we're replacing teeth. Even artificial teeth we're giving there. They do polishing for people too, and then they do a lot of things.
All the patients of interest that require specialized care will be moved from all the 2 zones that we have started already, so that they'll be attended to in Juf.
The outreach sponsored by the APC National Chairman will continue to showcase sharing hopes, decade-long commitment to restoring dignity, alleviating sufferings and delivering hope to undeserved communities across Nigeria.
Anything that need to far out will now be referred to Jude, and from 6 6th of October for 2 weeks. We'll now have another outreach by experts that will come from USA and France. They will step in and ensure that people that require specialized cases be attended to at no cost also. So these are things that we're doing to ensure that we help our people.
The 2-week outreach is expected to offer services to the public in general diagnostics, major and minor surgeries, eye and back surgeries, dental care, and free distribution of essential medical supplies. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang is urging adherents of various religions in Plateau State to live in harmony to accelerate the pace of development of the state. This was while receiving the 2025 Hajj report in Jos.
While receiving the report from the Amir Hajj and Emir of Wase, Governor Mutfwang saluted the leader of the contingent for leading a successful team that has made the state and nation proud. The governor pledged to reward the woman who found and returned over $5,000 and the man who found and returned an iPhone, describing their honesty as rare. Governor Mutfwang appealed to citizens to resist the temptation of disrupting the existing peace, assuring that he is committed to ensuring development in all parts of the state.
Let me assure you that I am committed to making sure that we live in peace. Irrespective of religion, we must live in peace with one another.
Amir Hajj and Emir of Wase, Muhammad Haruna, commended the team, saying it is the first most organized team under his leadership.
We are also proud to report that Plateau State Programs won several awards this year. Most notable, our programs were highly recommended for their exceptional hygiene and discipline in Mecca. This is a direct reflection of your leadership.
He also expressed gratitude to the governor for providing the Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board with a befitting structure, describing it as the first of its kind since the creation of Plateau State.
Norlin is standing by in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Welcome back from Jos to Abuja on Nationwide. For the nation to thrive and achieve its set goal, an accountability mechanism that holds people responsible and in a transparent manner must be in place. These were words from experts on service delivery at Training on Performance Management System PMS. Olayinka Ojo reports.
Since 1974 down to 2024, government process of assessing workers was through the use of annual performance appraisal form known as APA form. And the fact that it has outlived its importance is the reason why the present administration in 2025 introduced the Performance Management System, PMS, into the public sector to address some gaps.
There's no linkage between the organization and the individual. But with this, it's coming from the presidency to the organization, from the organization to the department, from the department to the individual.
And since having a whole government approach to doing things differently and achieving national developmental plans at the heart of government's policies and actions, this training session for staff of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is to help kickstart the process.
Be prepared for the new challenges, because if you do not shape up, we are likely to ship out.
We have to change our attitude in terms of our approach to work.
You don't stay at home and expect to be appraised upward.
This is just the best way to go.
With this, there's a line of sight to what an employer is doing, and achieving government's priorities won't be difficult. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Next on Nationwide is a sports update with Olumide Eguntola as our guide.
Nigeria's medal hopeful at the ongoing World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Japan, Ezekiel Nathaniel, narrowly missed the bronze medal of the 400 meters hurdles after returning a time of 47.11 seconds, a new national record. Rai Benjamin of Team USA won the gold medal in 46.52 seconds in the keenly contested race. From the continental scene, the 2025-2026 CAF Champions League begins Friday. On Sunday, Nigerian Premier League champions Remo Star will host US Limaju of Comoros in the preliminary CAF Champions League match in Abeokuta as the stadium is thrown wide open to fans. In the Confederations Cup, Nigeria's Kwara United will be the guest of Asante Kotoko of Ghana as both countries rekindle old football rivalry. Kwara United will take this opportunity to plant their flag firmly on Africa's football map, while their counterparts will be seeking restoration of fading reputation. In table tennis, Nigeria is gearing up towards qualifying for the 2026 ITTF World Team Championship in London, with the return of sensational star Taiwo Mati, who will be joining Africa's top-ranked players Quadri Aruna, Olajide Omotayo, Matthew Kuti, and rising star Abdulbasit Abdulfatai as Team Nigeria ahead of the 2025 ITTF African Championship scheduled for Tunis in Tunisia from October 12 to 19. In boxing, British-Nigerian heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua is set to make his long-awaited homecoming fight in Nigeria in early 2026. According to the facilitator of the fight, Ezekiel Adamu, son of Nigerian Sports Administration legend Dr. Amos Adamu, discussions with Joshua's camp had been positive and that plans are underway to stage the bout at the 50,000 capacity Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. With sports updates, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu extends heartfelt condolences to the Elebute family on the passing of their beloved mother, grandmother, and matriarch, Professor Oyinade Elebute, who passed on September 13 at the age of 91. A distinguished Nigerian physician and professor of physiology at the University of Lagos, Professor Elebute co-founded Hygia Nigeria Limited, Lagoon Hospitals, and Hygia HMO Limited. President Tinubu pays tribute to the late physician's lifetime service to humanity through her medical practice, training generations of health professionals, and pioneering private healthcare services in Nigeria. Special advisor to the President on Media and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, in a statement, said President Tinubu prays for the peaceful repose of the departed soul and comfort for family and loved ones mourning this irreparable loss. And that concludes Nationwide today.